He turned to the ship's control panel and began preparing his final attack plan. The aliens might be far more advanced in technology, but they lacked something vital: the human spirit. A single human's will to fight was something they could never comprehend. Marcus had weapons, sure. Missiles, lasers, defense shields. But these were just tools. What would bring him victory was his intelligence and determination. The aliens hadn't expected this attack. That much was clear. In their eyes, one human could never destroy such a gigantic ship. But Marcus had much more than they thought. As he reviewed his attack plan one last time, he felt a tremor deep within the ship. The aliens had started to move. Once the attack began, everything would happen within seconds. Marcus focused all his attention because this was his last chance. If this move failed, there would be no other hope. His hands moved over the panel, and when he pressed the final button, the massive ship shook. One by one, missiles were launched into space. Marcus's ship sped towards the enormous alien ship. Space had become an endless battlefield. Lights, explosions, screams that didn't echo in the silence, but Marcus felt them all. He carried the weight of every blow, every failure on his shoulders. But giving up wasn't in his nature. When humans faced challenges they couldn't overcome, they still fought. That's what made him the most terrifying thing in space. Even as the ship shook with explosions, Marcus didn't retreat for a moment. He was about to make his final move. The missile system activated and was heading straight for the center of the alien ship. By the time the aliens realized it, it was too late. When the moment came, the gigantic ship exploded. The blast tore through the darkness of space, flooding Marcus's eyes with a blinding light. And then there was only one thing left: silence. Marcus took a deep breath. His ship was damaged and the fuel was almost gone, but he was still alive. Humanity's future had been saved by the effort of one person. One person, the most terrifying thing in the universe. As Marcus Avery's ship drifted in the depths of space, the silence after the massive explosion lingered for a while. But that silence wasn't one of victory. Something echoed in Avery's mind. Yes, he had destroyed the alien ship, but this was just the beginning. He hadn't yet fully grasped the size of the enemy standing before him. Humans were warriors, but even the technology in Avery's hands wasn't powerful enough to carry this fight on forever. He turned back to the control panel and checked the damage reports. His ship was in terrible condition. The engines were failing, fuel levels were critical, and the weapons systems were nearly depleted. Yet, there was one thought that remained in Marcus Avery's mind. There was still work to be done. The aliens weren't just one ship. Behind them was a vast empire. If this was just a scouting ship, where were their main forces? One more time, just one more time, Marcus muttered to himself. If he could hold out for just a few more hours, maybe he could achieve an even greater victory for humanity. But how could he fight when he had nothing left? Deep inside his brain, that spark of human struggle reignited. Even when he thought he had nothing left but his will, that will became his true weapon. He restarted his ship, and as the engines groaned and the ship shuddered, Marcus allowed a smile to creep across his face. The systems were operational, but the ship could fail at any moment, leaving him adrift in space. Still, he continued, that's how humans were. Even in the face of death, they never backed down. A plan started to form in his mind. His communication systems were severely damaged, but there was still a window in which he could send an active signal. But who would he send it to? Humanity. No, before he could tell the humans anything, he had to fully eliminate the alien threat. If he failed, there would be an opportunity to warn the rest of the world. As the ship's radar detected a new object in the endless darkness of space, Marcus's full attention shifted. Was this another massive alien ship? No, it was something smaller, maybe a scout ship or a rescue vessel. I need to finish the job before they arrive, Marcus thought. He pushed his ship to its last reserves of power, increasing speed and plotting a new course. As he neared the scout ship, it was clear the aliens weren't expecting this. Underestimating humans had always been their biggest mistake. This gave Avery an advantage. He might not have the power to destroy another massive alien ship, but he could easily take out a smaller one. Slowly, he reactivated his ship's weapons, targeting the last remaining missiles and lasers at the scout ship. But this time, he had a different plan. Instead of attacking, he would infiltrate the ship. This was where human intelligence shone, winning the battle not with brute force, but with a sneaky, clever move. Marcus fired magnetic grapples at the exterior of the scout ship, securing his vessel. A small airlock opened, and Marcus stepped aboard the alien ship, weapon in hand. It was quiet inside, perhaps with only a small crew. He moved through the corridors without drawing attention. The interior design was unlike anything human-made. Curved walls, glowing symbols, and floating screens. The ship was another testament to alien technology. But everything Marcus saw only reminded him not of how different these creatures were, but how fragile they could be. As he advanced deeper, he headed towards the heart of the ship. If he could reach the main system, he might be able to deactivate all their defenses or even take control of the ship. Human intelligence was the aliens' greatest fear. Marcus was about to prove it. If one human had to destroy an empire alone, this was that moment. When he reached the control center, he encountered an alien crew. There were 3 of them, all staring at the human with shocked expressions. Without hesitation, Marcus drew his weapon and fired. Within seconds, all 3 aliens lay on the ground. One human could be the most terrifying weapon an empire had ever seen. He reloaded his weapon, but then noticed something else: the control panel. As he approached the ship's main panel, he searched for a way to operate it. The alien writing system was completely foreign, but within seconds, Marcus began to decipher it. The adaptability of humans was one of the greatest powers in the universe. After a few attempts, he managed to gain access to the ship's systems. As his eyes scanned the screen, he realized the ship was linked to the alien fleet's main base. This was the opportunity. If he could control this ship and launch an attack on the main base, he could cripple the entire alien operation. Marcus quickly scanned the symbols on the screen, activated the ship's weapon systems, and set coordinates for the main base. This was his final move. A massive strike aimed at the main base could potentially obliterate the entire alien fleet. He pressed a few more buttons, and the ship's weapons began to engage. There was no turning back now. As the screens lit up with explosions, Marcus felt the vibrations from deep within the ship. The missile system had been fired. This was the final assault on the alien empire. One human could indeed be the most terrifying thing in the universe. Marcus Avery, with just a few buttons, had brought an empire to its knees. When the attack was over, Marcus, exhausted but victorious, stepped out of the ship. Standing alone in the dark void of space, he once again felt the power of humanity. One human was the greatest threat the universe could ever face. Because humans never gave up, Marcus Avery, in the deep and endless void of space, could almost hear his own breath echo. As he left the alien ship in victory, the aftermath of the massive explosions still couldn't fill the silence inside him. He had destroyed the alien ship, but victory came at a price. There was nothing left, no ship, no weapons, no strength left to fight. But he was still alive, and he had succeeded. He had taken down humanity's greatest enemy, alone, with his own hands. One thought kept circling in Avery's mind. Is this just the beginning? The aliens may have been defeated, but the real fight for humanity was only just beginning. As one man, he had waged war on the darkest corners of the universe and come out on top. But what about tomorrow? What about the day after? Humanity would always face greater, more powerful enemies. Marcus's ship, now a wreck, drifted aimlessly. Its energy signals were fading, and the fuel was completely gone. There was no sign of life around. In this vast emptiness, he was left alone with the cold face of victory. But despite it all, he knew one thing: humans were never truly alone. Even in the deepest, darkest corners of space, the human spirit would always shine. And humanity, no matter what, would always be reborn. As the ship slowly drifted through the void of space, Marcus lifted his head and imagined Earth as a tiny to millions of light years away. The people there were going about their lives, unaware of this battle. Maybe one day they would learn of this war, or maybe they never would. But to Marcus Avery, it didn't matter. He was humanity's silent hero. A man, alone, could be the greatest warrior the universe had ever known. Because that's what humans were. No matter how dark it got, no matter how alone they were, they always kept fighting. He took one last deep breath, looked at the control panel of his ship, and quietly closed the hatch. Unless a miracle happened, this would be his final moment. But that didn't scare him, because the most terrifying thing was the will of a human being. And Marcus Avery had proven that once again, humans could be the most terrifying thing in the universe. Because no matter what, they always fought, always rose again, always became the light in the darkness. As Marcus Avery closed his eyes one last time, a truth echoed in the silence of space. Humanity could never be defeated. And so, Marcus's legend spread like a seed throughout the endless void of space. The human will would echo even in the darkest emptiness. The universe's most terrifying enemies could not stand against humanity, because humans were the greatest force to be feared.